The library in OpenBoard allows you to organize sound files, videos, images, shapes, and other objects you'd like to include in your OpenBoard document. It's located on the right side of your OpenBoard window, and it can be hidden by clicking the tab either to hide or to show. It can also be resized by dragging the tab to the left or to the right. We're going to talk about some of the items available to you in your library. To learn more, access the OpenBoard User's Manual available on OpenBoard's official website. During installation, OpenBoard automatically creates an OpenBoard folder in your default Music, Pictures, and Video folders on your computer, on both Macs and Windows computers. To add your own sounds, videos, or images to OpenBoard pages, you'll have to add them to these folders created by OpenBoard. So I have my Pictures folder already. So this is the default Pictures folder that I have on my computer. And this is the OpenBoard folder that OpenBoard created during installation in my Pictures folder. And if I double click, I added a picture already to the OpenBoard folder. Now if you add pictures to or videos or audio files to these default folders, you'll have to close OpenBoard and then reopen it after you've added those pictures or other files to make sure OpenBoard knows that those files have been added to those folders. So I've added a picture to the OpenBoard folder in my default Pictures folder on my computer. So I'm going to go to a blank page. I'm going to go into the Pictures folder, and I can just click and drag and drop that picture onto the page. With my Selection and Modify Objects tools selected, I can click on the image and I can drag it around on the page. I can resize it. I can duplicate it, and I can delete it, just like I can with any other thing that's selected. You can also, I'm going to delete this, you can also, if you have a picture or a file that you want to insert, you can have that folder open wherever the file is that you want to insert is saved, and you can click and drag and drop from that folder onto an active OpenBoard page, and I can again work with that image or sound file or video file. Up here, the navigation to get back to home for my library, because right now I'm in the images section. I can click on the home button and then I can see my overall library files again. So again, audios, movies, and pictures. OpenBoard adds a default OpenBoard folder into your default folders on your computer for each type of file. But again, you can drag and drop like I showed you. You have access to applications. So you have a mask. So let's say I have this prepared ahead of time before I get to my class to do the presentation, and maybe I want to hide this and reveal it like I was using an old overhead projector. I can drag the mask onto the page, select it and resize it, and then as I'm talking I can bring the shade down, the mask down, to reveal the objects I'm talking about. So I could have that prepared ahead of time. It'll stay resident on the page for me. To get rid of it, I can select it and delete it. I can drag, let me go to a blank page, I can drag a ruler onto the page, and I should be able to draw a straight line with it that way if I want to. I think it's easier to use the straight line tool than to do that, but it's whatever your preference is. So I'm going to select this. I can use this rotation handle and rotate it if I want to. I can make it longer or smaller. And to get rid of it, I can click the X. And I can select what I drew and get rid of that. I have access to a compass that will allow me to draw circles. I can make the compass bigger or smaller, and draw additional circles if I need to. I can also move it on the page to make changes that way. I'm going to select it, get rid of it, and I'm going to erase what I drew. I have access to a protractor. I can choose an angle. I can rotate the protractor. I can make it larger or smaller. And I can get rid of it. Triangle, same thing. I have a magnifier, so if I go back to this page that has writing on it, and I drag the magnifier on, I can make something larger on the screen. I can make the magnifier a different shape. I can make the magnifier magnify with more intensity or less intensity. I can also drag the magnifier and make it larger in size. To get rid of the magnifier, I can click the X and make it go away. I have a cache, and that will actually allow me to have a spotlight wherever I click on the page. I can use these options here. So if I don't want a black cache, I can choose blue. I can change the shape. So now I have a square that I'm showing, and I can also change the size of the square, so I can make it larger or smaller. I can click close to get rid of the cache. If I want to embed something, if I have an embed code for like a YouTube video or a tweet or anything that gives me an embed code, I can pull this embed out and paste it in and have that object resident on the screen. I have a calculator. I can pull in a graphing option. I can put a clock on. I can put sticky notes on. And that's about all that I think is valuable with the applications. You also have access to shapes, So if you want a bubble, so blue shapes, gray shapes, no fill shapes, red, and white shapes that you can bring onto the page. And that is your library.